These are the things you should be doing in preparation for the release of Pokemon Champions. And so whether you're a complete beginner to competitive Pokemon or you already know quite a few things, this video is going to be useful because there's a lot of little tidbits in here. So let's get started. The first thing is going to be learn about the Pokemon shown so far in the trailers. Now, mind you, these aren't all the Pokemon that are going to be available in Champions. Of course, I believe eventually we'll have every single Pokemon in there. And some of the Pokemon shown in the trailers won't necessarily be in the regulation instantly. Regardless, it's still a good place to start. We know these mons are at least already being thought of. They'll probably be legal sometime in the near future. And so I've compiled some boxes for you in the link in the description. You can just go grab them and you can load these straight into Pokemon Showdown. I'll show you how to do that. And then you can look at all of the Pokemon's abilities, moves, and so forth. Now, one important note is, of course, Game Freak and Pokemon have been known to change moves and little things about mons as new generations came out. You know, like Generation 8 maybe removed a move from a certain mon, Generation 9 added another one to a certain mon, and so that will probably happen in Champions as well, especially because it's a live service game. It's very possible they're like, oh damn, this Pokemon is actually way too strong. Normally they would have to wait years and years with a new game to fix it. Now they can just go boop, you know, remove Parting Shot from Incineroar. Please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't. He's my baby. Don't remove Parting Shot from Incineroar. But you know, if they think a certain mon is too strong, they might make some changes. Regardless though, they're not gonna delete every move of every mon, you know? So it's still a great way to get started. I've compiled just every mon we've seen so far in the trailer, whether it was a little background character or it was shown in the boxes, you know, physically ready. I've compiled them all. If you want to go to PokemonShowdown.com, you will get a page like this. You can go to Team Builder and then do New Box and then import from text or URL. Click it, paste the link I give you, click on save, and boom, it's in there. Then you will get this view right here. You can just click on the mons, you can click on their abilities, see which ones they might have, click on the moves, see which ones they learn. For example, let's say you have Raichu right here. Let's see, oh, it learns Fake Out, awesome. You know, Fake Out is a really powerful move in VGC, and so knowing up front which mons learn which things, you're gonna have a head start. You might know which mons you want to roll for, you know, on the banner system or whatever they're gonna end up doing there. You might figure out like, hey, the stats of Dragonite, you know, you can see the stats here. These stats are crazy. I want a Dragonite on my team. You will get that one for free though, so maybe that's a bad example. But hey, our boy Scizor, you might notice, hey, this speed is awful. You know, I don't want to play with Scizor, but it learns Bullet Punch, so it's going first anyway. Whoa! You can start learning about all of these mons if you're not very used to them just yet. And even if you have been playing in Scarlet and Violet already, there's still some mons that aren't in Scarlet and Violet that you can learn about. There's actually an entire box here, right here, of mons that aren't in Scarlet and Violet that are shown to be in Champions, and so you can already get accustomed to those as well right here. Again, I've compiled it all. You can just load them in your Showdown, start reading their abilities, their stats, their moves. It's really, really useful to just get that little head start. Next, you want to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell. The reason for that though is I will be releasing tons of videos in preparation for Champions, and of course once Champions drops, I'll be dropping just tons of tutorials. And so if you want to stay up to date with everything and anything, you know, you want to be subscribed, you want to have the notifications on, and let's master this game together. Now, the third thing you want to do is place a bunch of mons in Pokemon Home. Now, if you don't know what this is, you know, if you're totally new right here, Pokemon Home is a service where you can store your mons from across different generations, different games. They can all go in one hub, and then you can access them from these different games. So Champions has home compatibility. So if you have a certain mon you really like from Scarlet and Violet, on Champions you will be able to use it by grabbing it from home. Now, since you've already seen the mons in those boxes I've given you, you can already prepare and put a bunch of them, or maybe just your favorite ones, into Pokemon Home, and that way you will have quicker access to them when Champions releases. So here we have my home, for example. We have some of my older shinies. Gyarados is going to be in the game. All right, let's just take our Gyarados right here and move him towards home. Get him ready for a beautiful journey inside Champions. Now, I will say one thing. I've noticed a lot of people on my previous video go, oh, the whole banner system doesn't matter because if I already have the Pokemons in home, I will just have everything for free anyway. I would not be so sure that transferring from home doesn't cost anything or has no limits. I hope so. I would be stoked. I have every mon available. I'm good. I'd be stoked if I can just grab whatever I want from Pokemon Home. No limits whatsoever. But it just kind of feels like they would be shooting themselves in the foot from a monetization perspective. And while I definitely think they don't need the money, you know, I think competitive Pokemon is kind of like a big marketing push for them. I wouldn't be so sure. I think they might still try to somehow monetize this. And so it's possible there will be some kind of limit, you know, where you can't go, oh, here's my 300 favorite mons, boom, into champions, easy peasy, I'm just bypassing your whole system. I'm not so sure. Regardless, it is very, very likely that having mons in home is going to be an advantage. So you might as well put a number of them into home, have them ready to put them into champions, no matter if it costs a little bit less VP that way. Now, Pokemon Home is a subscription service if you want to have bigger box access. At least last time I activated a subscription, I think you had like 30 free spaces, you know, like one box for free. And then if you wanted more, you had to upgrade or something like that. I don't remember how the system is right now. I just have this subscription running eternally. Big Pikachu gets my money. But as far as I'm aware, you can already download it and, you know, have 30 free spaces. So use them. Be sure to just get some of your favorite mons, some of your best mons in there already, so maybe you have a head start in Champions. We'll see how easy the transfer is really when the game drops. Now for point 4, I already hear some of you saying, but I'm new. You know, I've played the games in the past, but I have no mons. I don't have anything anymore. I want to start competing, but I don't have this giant catalog of Pokemon from throughout the ages. And that's where I have the latest little trick. This little trick I haven't seen anywhere else just yet, but here it comes. Download Pokemon Go, or rather re-download Pokemon Go. Because in 2016, I think virtually everybody had this app, right? Everyone played it for at least a little bit. And so that should mean that even if you have no mons anywhere for some reason, you might actually still have some mons somewhere. You can send Pokemon from Go to home. So I hope you haven't forgotten your account if you haven't been playing too actively on this anymore. But still, this is an option. You just re-download Pokemon Go and who knows what kind of treasures you still have in there. For example, let's go into my Pokemon. Of course, like I have played it a little bit more than the average player who quit. You can see some beautiful shinies and some legendaries. But I'm also not like a Pokemon Go tryhard or anything. But for example, let's say I really want Mega Charizard. You know, I really want to have Charizard instantly. I have some Charizard on here, even some shinies. Look at that. We have Charlie right here, and we have Blake. I don't really know what that means. And we have Char with a bunch of dollar signs. I don't know about my naming schemes here. But so you might have some mons already that you can just put into home and then you can put them into champions, even though you don't necessarily have him playing Scarlet or Violet or Sword or Shield and so forth. So check it out. Maybe you have something. Some of us went quite crazy for that one summer and it won't be for nothing. Who knows? Maybe you even have some shinies. Now 5. If you own Legends ZA, you want to finish it to the point where you have access to Greninja, Delphox, and Chestnut. If you saw my previous video, you know that the Pokemon Company announced that if you place a Legends ZA, Delphox, Greninja, or Chestnut from home into Champions, you will instantly get access to their Mega Stones. We don't necessarily know that that means that it's only the Legends ZA tagged mons that get it, but I'm going to assume that that's the case. If not, if they somehow couldn't figure that out, cool, then it can be any Delphox, Greninja, or Chestnut, but let's assume that their communication is correct, it only works with Legends ZA versions. Then if you own the game already, it's best to have these ready. You know, if you were playing Legends ZA and at one point you were like, oh, I've had enough, or maybe you didn't catch these specific mons, whatever, make sure you go do that now. Make sure you get those 3 so that you have instant access to some really good megas. If you've seen some of the stats like Mega Delphox, even though it has Levitate, it still has pretty solid stats. It looks like a very fast special sweeper. You know, you might want to have some access to a very strong mon with very limited work. And finally, number 6, you want to learn about some of the tools that competitive VGC players use to get an edge on the competition. There are tools that are non-Pokemon, but they are perfectly legal, that are going to be very, very useful to build your teams, to figure out strategies. And I actually made a video about all of these tools already. Again, I mean, I could start yapping about them, but I literally made the video already. You might as well just check it out right here. It goes over, you know, damage calculators, the most common stats people are using, using, ways to track like games. There's a bunch of stuff, you know, link will be in the description as well as here somewhere. You're going to have an easier time building and figuring out strategies. That is all. Make sure to subscribe and I will see you soon. Ciao.